I'm Chef Terry Reese, and this is Tips, Tricks, and Techniques. At the dinner table, meaningful conversations about school, work, and life support children and encourage them to succeed. Parent University and Believe to Become are proud to support our show today. Hi, I'm Chef Terry Reese. Welcome to Tips, Tricks, and Techniques. Today's show is featuring herbs from Michigan Fine Herbs and one of my favorite ingredients, which is salt. I had the opportunity to go out to the greenhouses out in Shelbyville, and let's take a look at what was there.
Yeah.
I'm Chef Terry Reese, and I'm here with Vince from Michigan Fine Herbs, and we are in part of the greenhouse that is the basil hydroponics behind me. So Vince, tell me a little bit about how these hydroponics grow.
How they grow? Well, we start them in Oasis Foam. We start them in another greenhouse, and from there we get them. They're about 2 weeks old, and then they're taken in here, and then they're planted in each of the holes.
Little pods there, and they grow to about what? About 10,
12 inches.
And then these are the herbs that we can find in the grocery stores all along West Michigan.
Yes.
Okay, and you go pretty much, I understand, the Midwest?
Lower states, Indiana, Ohio.
Okay.
Kentucky area, Chicago.
And I'm a big fan of basil, but I walked by a whole greenhouse of other herbs. So tell me some of the other herbs and things that you grow here.
We grow cilantro, chives, mint, dill, oregano, tarragon, rosemary, sage, thyme.
Okay.
So
parsley. I've got some pictures in the back, and I saw some beautiful edible flowers.
Lemon thyme. We do edible flowers. We do sorrel. We do some of the minors. Can't come to mind right now. But,
the minors herb blends.
Herb blends, which we blend here, so the customer doesn't have to blend. So we do it for them. So.
And I'm here in the summertime right now, but it goes all winter long.
Yes.
It's nice and toasty in here.
The hydroponic area goes all year round. So,
okay.
Yeah,
so what's your favorite herb that you like to cook with?
Basil.
Basil?
Yes.
So I picked the right spot?
Absolutely, you did.
Okay.
So,
well, we're going to go tour a little bit more of the greenhouse here, and I'll be picking some herbs to be taken back to the studio that we're going to be cooking with. So really appreciate you letting us take some time in the greenhouse here. All right. We'll be back in the studio in just a little bit. Well, we're back here, and we got a chance to look at some great herbs. Michigan Fine Herbs is one of those producers that do the live plants in the grocery store so that we can have fresh herbs all year round. And right now it's getting to be fall, but I'm going to make us think a little bit about spring and summer with the fresh herbs. A couple of the things that I like to do is feature great salt with great herbs to give different foods kind of a robust feeling that you don't generally get. And sometimes they can be very, very simple things, like sage and Parmesan crisp. What? I used to do these at Meyer May House when I was the chef there. And what I'm doing is I'm going to take some sage leaves here that is fresh, and I'm going to just go ahead and do a rough chop on them. Because they're all quiet for a while. Yep. I know. Give them an inch, they take a mile on me. And so what I'll do is I have some Parmesan cheese here, and I'm going to add in the fresh sage. Now it could be sage, it could be oregano, it could be thyme, it could be a mixture of all of them. It's whatever it is that you want to have. And then I'm going to mix this up. Now you can heat an oven to about 400 degrees. Get a baking sheet with one of these really fun little Silpats on them, and then you just mound up as big as a chip that you want. So in this case, I'm going to use about a teaspoon and put them in. It is And then what I would do is go ahead and set those aside, pop them in the oven. Look at that. And bring them out. Done. Seconds. These will take about 3 to 5 minutes in a 400-degree oven to do, and they're kind of like a tuile cookie.
you'll be able to pick them up and take them right off. They're beautiful. They're great for snacking on with dips. You can use them as garnish on mashed potatoes. If you want to dress up all your potatoes, you can just eat them like I do sometimes. It's a nice little fancy garnish, and you can make them as big or as little as you want. That's a quick, easy thing that you can do with some fresh herbs. One of the other things that we're going to do is make a watermelon salad. So I'm going to move these over here. And I got some oregano. Go ahead and pop it down. Now, watermelon is pretty hard to find right now, but I was able to find some, and some of this is very, very sweet. And if you notice, this is left on the rind, and I took this off today. If you're going to store your watermelon or anything, store it with the rind anytime that you can. That will help you keep it fresh longer. Need my bowl. What we're going to do here is just dice up some watermelon. Now, you could do this in a bowl. You could make it really fancy and layer it up. I'm just going to cube this up here. I happen to love watermelon. Now when it gets to, when you can't get watermelon, you can use tomato. And the reason for that is watermelon and tomatoes are both fruit. Usually somebody will say something to me like it's a fruit, but it is. So I'll pop that up in there. Then I'm going to do some fresh oregano leaves. Little one wanted to get away from me. What do you think? So I'll pick my oregano. Or maybe I could have done this beforehand, but I didn't want to. Can you smell it? When you pick it, you get the oils that come out with it. And by the way, when you're eating fresh herbs, if the herb does not have a woody stem, this was a little woody, you don't want to eat that. But on sage or on basil, anything that has a soft stem, you can add, or parsley, those types of things, you can eat those. Perfectly good for you. Okay, that'll do me there. And then, let me throw that over there. And now I'm going to use some ricotta cheese in it. If you don't have ricotta cheese, you can use cottage cheese. I'm just going to use a little bit so that we have a nice little salad to go. And of course, it doesn't have to be a lot. And all I'm going to do is stir this up. There we go. See, I'm losing it. You can do either or. That's a new thing you try. We're also going to do an olive salt. So I'm going to take some olives that have been chopped, and I'm going to go through and run my knife and go ahead and get them chopped up a little bit more. And what I like too is everybody will talk about making fresh herbs, herb salts. You go out and buy some flavored salts. You go through all of this. Don't. Make them yourself. If you're asking me, like, what do you mean, make them yourself? Because you will save yourself a lot of money just by doing this. So I'm going to open up this Pacific Sea Salt. Let's see if I get my hands dry. Or do what I always do, just open it up. Knives come in handy for those types of things. And I'm just going to go ahead and sprinkle some of this on here. Now, I get a lot of people who will ask me some questions, and they'll say, well, is kosher salt has less salt than table salt, or maybe like, are this salt better for you than other salts? My answer to that is no. Salt is salt. It's potassium chloride. It's the only rock that you eat. It's one that you have to have. The difference in it is in kosher salt versus table salt, and maybe like this Pacific salt, the grains are bigger. So by volume, I get a tablespoon of table salt versus a tablespoon of kosher salt versus a tablespoon of Pacific salt, they're all going to weigh different. And that's where people think you have less salt in something. If you weighed it to 1 ounce, it has the same amount of salt per ounce in there. You may get a few minerals in your salts that we can have that will be beneficial to you, but they really have no impact on the salt that you have. The sodium difference is the same by weight. So I have a nice little salad here with watermelon, ricotta, olives. There we go. That's a nice, refreshing starter for a meal if you want. Something that you can use anytime. Clean off my edges here and move them through. All right, let me move this out of the way here. Now, one of the things that a lot of people talk to me about is, you know, I've got this dirty cutting board here. Now I have a clean one. It's really okay as long as there hasn't been anything really too totally bad on there. So what I was talking about making different salts, I want to make a curry salt. And I have a different type of salt. I have gray salt. This is the second, when they make salt and you get the fine white salt, that's the first blush that they take off of the salt beds. Gray salt's the second one. It's a little darker in color and it's usually got a finer grain. The Morton salts that we have, this kind, probably came from Detroit, from the salt mines there. So this one I've already opened. So I'll sprinkle some in. And this is how they make a flavored salt. There. Can you smell the curry? So if you mix it up, you get a flavored salt. Now if I want to, I could add some fresh herbs to this one, but I'm going to let this sit here for a second because what I want to do is make a little bit of a caprese salad. You can use any stone fruit that you have. I happen to have these plumots, a difference between a plum and an apricot combination that we have. I had some peaches that just didn't seem really, really fresh, so I decided to change this up. And so I'm just going to go ahead and slice this into sections. And I'll turn around and get some other ones going here. Hit the pit, come over on the edge. I think that'll do it for it. Move this over. And then I'm going to take my buffalo mozzarella and just slice a few slices also. This is where a really sharp knife helps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to layer up a piece of mozzarella and some of my fruit. Put in a basil, maybe a piece of mint. Add another one, another mint, basil I should say. Some mint that will be on the top. And then we'll just go ahead and make a little bit of a garnish around the edge of the plate. Oop, flip this over, make it easier. Sometimes when you have a tomato or a piece of fruit that has a tough skin on it, if you flip it over, you can cut through that a little bit easier than what you would have otherwise. So then what we'll do, let's get this done. Go ahead and we'll sprinkle this around. I got to get a picture of this one here at some point. Now you could put a salad dressing on here, a vinaigrette would be fine, but I have this white balsamic reduction that I found, so I'm going to do this little drizzle, because as chefs we like to drizzle things. And go over at the top, and then we'll add some mint to it. But first I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of my curry salt on here. In fact, I'm going to use my fingers. If you use your fingers and you go like this, the French term is saigner. It's to rain down upon. Was probably the only word I remember from culinary school. So, I don't know if you can smell that from where you're at, but that's got some really good heat going, and that heat's going to add some to the sweetness and everything of the salad. And then I can add in my garnish of the fresh mint, and I have this beautiful salad that comes up with the salts and the herbs and the fresh cheese that we have. Again, another nice starter. If you didn't like the plums, you could go back and do a standard tomato. You could use watermelon. You could use almost anything here with it. This is looking kind of sad, don't you think? I think I'm going to put a little bit of rosemary on that plate to make that one look good. So let me move this over here. So a lot of people like to make special salts. And I like to make Tuscan salt. And I happen to have this really cool salt bowl. This is a Himalayan salt block. And in here I have just some lavender that I got, basil, rosemary. It could be almost any type of herb that you want with the salt. Salt is a natural preservative. It will keep this herb fresh and smelling really great for quite some time. But what I want to do is take a mortar, and you could do this in a food processor, but like why? I mean, this is, kind of the fun part of it. And all you need to do is go ahead and just keep grinding it in. You could customize these and give them away for Christmas presents, put them in little jars. It's a great way to use. Can you smell it now? I'm like, oh, I'm in heaven. Now the Himalayan, the pink salt, it's a Himalayan salt block. It's actually not from Himalaya. I read a thing on it. Yeah, it's from someplace else. But it's the prettiest ones. The bowl is a block of salt. Yep. It's heavy too. You want to try it? Oh, sorry, I couldn't tell that you couldn't see over there. So what I do here is I'll just go ahead and grind this up and keep going. And then eventually all the salt and the herbs will get together. And then I can put it in a container. I think I got a container here. It's kind of a big container. And then put a lid on it, and then I can have salt that I've custom made for anything. This is a salt and herb mix that I use all of the time. I'll use it on salads and salad dressings, on roasts, and on pork, steak, anything that you want. So it's one of those great little mixtures that you can do. And like I said, you can go ahead and take them and you can deliver them out as Christmas presents, get them ground down as far as you want. One of the things that you can do too is I have a whole bunch of different salts up here. We have the Pacific sea salt that I have a little bit of an olive in that I need to take out. But you can get salt in block form like this. This is like a butter dish block that you can do, and I've layered basil on here and then put butter on here and then rosemary on top of it. And you can chill these. And once they're chilled, you can use them. And I also have a bunch of different salts here that we have, from black salt, which is from Hawaii, which tastes like rotten eggs. And that's from it's from the minerals that you get in the lava rocks, to the Himalayan, to the nice, really flaky salts. Now, one of the ones is Madden salt. And it's this nice, pure, flaky kind of salt that just kind of comes up in big crystals. I'm asked every once in a while, why do we have table salt and why do we have kosher salt? One of the reasons we have kosher salt is because the crystals are bigger. Rumor has it that sometime in the 1600s, some poor cook confused sugar and salt and was beheaded. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but it does make you feel it so that you can touch the difference between the crystals without having to taste them. So today what we've done is we've made a watermelon olive salt salad with ricotta, garnished it with some fresh rosemary. I did a nectarine or a plumat caprese salad with mint and basil, and then I made some great Parmesan potato chips. I want to thank everybody for coming, my friends from Michigan Fine Herbs, and everybody that's here, the staff and the volunteer crew at WKTV. And with that, I hope you all go home and cook with some fresh salts and herbs. Have a great day.
Thanks for watching today's show, Tips, Tricks, and Techniques. Remember, at the dinner table, much love is expressed. Life-giving conversations encourage children to believe in their unlimited potential, embrace high expectations, and seize every opportunity to achieve success in school, work, and life. Learn more about Believe to Become at IBelieveBecome.org.